Finland governments have lifted some restriction placed on Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister of Biafra Republic government in exile, as Biafrans all over the world jubilate over the good news. According to information from our reliable source, suggests that Finnish authorities have granted Simon Ekpa more access to his family and lifted certain restrictions while investigations continues, countering Nigerian media narratives. However, as Biafrans all over the world jubilate over the good news, some saboteurs are sad over the development. Supporters of Simon Ekpa feel happy the news from Finland, but enemies of Simon Ekpa feel disappointed by Finnish authority. Meanwhile, some people have criticized the Nigerian government for allegedly spreading misinformation about Simon Ekpa's situation, pointing to inconsistencies in their statements. In another report from our reliable source, suggests that the governor of Anambra state, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, has placed 10 million naira bounty on Biafra army. Governor Charles Soludo announced a N10 million bounty for information leading to the capture of Biafra Liberation Army commanders and its fighters. He accused them of causing insecurity in the southeast, most especially in Anambra state. Meanwhile, some critics have accused the Anambra state governor for being responsible for attacks in the state. Instead of accepting blames for his inability to provide adequate security for the state, he is now blame freedom fighters who willingly took it upon themselves to provide their people from external invaders and terrorists in Nigerian military uniform. Let me tell you about a story that's been unfolding across different parts of the world, a story that's both inspiring and controversial. It centers around Simon Ekpa, a man many consider a leader of the Biafra movement, and how recent events have put him in the spotlight. This tale is a mix of politics, personal resilience, and the never-ending quest for justice and freedom. It's not just about one man, it's about a people, a cause, and the complexities that come with it. So here we are, starting in a place far from Nigeria, Finland to be precise. Finland, known for its snowy landscapes and saunas, might seem like an unlikely setting for the story of a Biafran leader. But this is where Simon Ekpa has been based for years. He's become a prominent figure in the Biafra movement, which continues to demand independence for the southeastern part of Nigeria. Simon Ekpa's voice has echoed far beyond the borders of Nigeria, thanks to the internet and his steadfast commitment to the cause. But life hasn't been smooth sailing for Simon Ekpa. You see, in recent months, Simon Ekpa has faced restrictions from Finnish authorities. These restrictions made it hard for Simon Ekpa to move freely, to see his family as often as he'd like, and to engage fully with the movement he leads. For Simon Ekpa, it was a tough period. Imagine being in a place where you're far from home, carrying the weight of an entire movement on your shoulders, and then facing additional challenges that make your life even harder. It's the kind of struggle that would test anyone's resolve. And then came a glimmer of hope. Recently, Finnish authorities decided to ease some of the restrictions on Simon Ekpa. This decision didn't mean everything was suddenly perfect, or that all issues were resolved. But it was a step forward. It meant Simon Ekpa could now have better access to his family while the investigations against him continued. For months, many of them had felt like they were up against a wall, dealing with what they believed was misinformation and propaganda from the Nigerian government. This decision by the Finnish authorities seemed to validate their faith in Simon Ekpa and his cause. But, as with any story involving politics and activism, not everyone was thrilled. There are always critics, opponents, and those who see things differently. Some called Simon Ekpa a troublemaker. Others saw him as a threat to peace and stability. And then there were those who simply didn't trust him or the movement he represents. The easing of restrictions on Simon Ekpa didn't change their minds. If anything, it made them even more determined to push back against him and his supporters. Now, while all of this was happening in Finland, there was another chapter of the story unfolding back in Nigeria, specifically in the southeastern region of Nigeria, where the Biafra movement has its roots. This is a region with a complex history marked by a bloody civil war in the late 1960s and decades of unrest since then. The dream of an independent Biafra remains alive for many people there, but it's also a dream that's fraught with challenges. One of those challenges is the ongoing tension between Biafran activists and the Nigerian government. This tension often plays out in the form of protests, crackdowns, and, unfortunately, violence. Recently, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, the governor of Anambra state, decided to take a bold step. Charles Chukwuma Soludo announced a bounty of 10 million naira for information leading to the capture of commanders of the Biafra Liberation Army. According to Charles Chukwuma Soludo, these commanders were fueling insecurity in the state, and he wanted to put an end to it. Charles Chukwuma Soludo's announcement sparked a lot of reactions. Some people praised him for taking a stand against what they saw as a group causing chaos and violence. Others criticized him, accusing him of shifting blame and failing to address the underlying issues. The critics argued that the Biafra Liberation Army, or BLA as they're often called, were not the problem. Instead, they saw the Biafra Liberation Army as freedom fighters, people trying to protect their communities from external threats, including attacks by those dressed in military uniforms. It's a messy situation, isn't it? On one side, you have a governor trying to maintain order and protect his state. On the other side, you have a group of people who believe they're fighting for their rights and their homeland. And caught in the middle are ordinary citizens just trying to live their lives in peace. The announcement of the bounty by Charles Chukwuma Soludo added another layer of complexity to an already complicated situation. Some people saw it as a necessary step to bring stability to the region. Others saw it as a political move, a way for Charles Chukwuma Soludo to show he's taking action, even if that action might not lead to real solutions. Meanwhile, Simon Ekpa and his supporters were watching all of this unfold. For them, the bounty and the criticism of the Biafra Liberation Army were just more examples of what they see as an ongoing campaign against the Biafran movement. They argued that the Nigerian government and its allies were trying to paint the movement as violent and dangerous, rather than addressing the root causes of the unrest. These causes, they said, include decades of marginalization, economic neglect, and a lack of political representation for the people of southeastern Nigeria. The divide between these perspectives is deep, and it's not something that can be bridged easily. For every person who sees the Biafra movement as a fight for justice and self-determination, there's someone who sees it as a threat to Nigeria's unity and stability. And in the middle of this divide are people like Simon Ekpa, who have become symbols of the movement, whether they wanted to be or not. Simon Ekpa's supporters often describe him as a fearless leader, someone who's willing to speak out against injustice, no matter the cost. His critics, on the other hand, accuse him of inciting violence and spreading propaganda. It's a classic case of one man being seen in completely different ways by different people. As we reflect on this story, it's clear that it's about more than just one man or one movement. It's about a region and a people who feel like their voices haven't been heard. It's about a country trying to navigate its complex history and diverse population. And it's about the challenges of finding common ground in a world where division often seems to be the norm. So what happens next? That's the big question, isn't it? Will Simon Ekpa continue to play a leading role in the Biafra movement? Will Charles Chukwuma Soludo's bounty lead to real change, or will it just deepen the divide? And perhaps most importantly, will there ever be a resolution to the Biafran question that satisfies everyone involved? These are questions without easy answers. But one thing is certain, the story isn't over. It's still being written, day by day, by the actions of people like Simon Ekpa, Charles Chukwuma Soludo, and countless others whose names we might never know. It's a story of struggle, resilience, and the search for justice. A story that's as complex and multifaceted as the people and places it involves. And as we watch this story unfold, It's a reminder of the power of individuals to shape the world around them, for better or for worse. It's a reminder that history is never just something that happens. It's something that's made by the choices we all make, every single day. Now, when we think about Simon Ekpa and his role in the Biafra movement, we also have to consider the larger historical and cultural context of the region he represents. Southeastern Nigeria, often referred to as the Igbo heartland, has a long history of resilience and self-reliance. The people there are known for their entrepreneurial spirit, vibrant culture, and deep sense of community. But they're also a people who have felt the sting of marginalization for decades. The dream of Biafra, which started as a political and cultural movement, has its roots in the painful memories of the Nigerian Civil War, also called the Biafran War. For many people in southeastern Nigeria, this war wasn't just a historical event, it was a defining moment. It was a time when they felt abandoned by the rest of Nigeria, left to fend for themselves in the face of famine, blockades, and violence. These memories continue to shape the region's identity and its relationship with the Nigerian government. Simon Ekpa's rise as a prominent voice for the Biafra movement can't be separated from this history. His supporters see him as someone who's giving a voice to their frustrations and their hopes. Simon Ekpa talks about self-determination, justice, and the right to live in a society where their culture and values are respected. For many, this resonates deeply. But as much as Simon Ekpa's words inspire some, they also provoke others. The Nigerian government has often accused Simon Ekpa and other Biafran activists of stirring up unrest and inciting violence. These accusations aren't new, but they've gained more attention in recent years, especially as the Biafra movement has become more vocal and visible.
When we talk on an agree listing, almost $5 million paid into the criminal Ogechikunkere Aka alias Isaiah Anyoko account through Azubike. Now, are you getting the reason why Azubike bluntly, resistantly said he is going with Oge? And now also the Yahoo lobbyist lawyer Elias Grasolis, Yahoo lawyer, follow them. And now I wonder what some people like responsible Joe Irobi, responsible Dr. Joe Irobi is doing with them. I wonder what somebody like Professor Shioma Okoma is doing with them. I wonder what somebody like Bryson Okoma is doing with these people. Odigu. You know, when I came out and told you that this guy or this criminal is working for Nigeria, una no agree. But omego no na yavam. Ahụrụ Stella ebe na Bamba, ị na-akpọ Ngozi Sabo, ị na-akpọ Dr. Ngozi Sabo, all of you that gathered on the Twitter space to make noise, where are you today? Will you defend this? Anyway, all of you are just, I don't know how much people have been promised, but I want you to know, out of $5 million, probably Sonny will get $10,000, Rafael $10,000, Polo will be $10,000. That's why Haja Arono Kagasami shared it all. That is why they are working their ass out. They want to die fighting for gay. $5 million. How much they give you will make you the fight. Sonny Akbarawa. How much they give you, Rafael, anywhere, Rafael, anything they give you, even if na €5 they give you, you go die put. Paul Obiko, how much they give you? I pity you now. Somebody dey use una brain in this 25th century. Na 25th century we dey o. 2025 na we dey year 2225 na we dey after Christ don vamoose go heaven. Na una never wake up. See now, the waiting be them, the Yahoo lawyer, we go sit down, they browse, they look for. After I go talk about that one. After I go get time talk about that one. Meanwhile, Ogechikunkere never defended anyone before. He has never come out to defend anything. You see, when I tell you that now, remember the accused, I dey tell you the truth. Okay, Chikunkere, Nigeria agent de kage uro part 2. Akane US, Amane Kanjo, and the many of you can only make this present government. Biafra United States Biafra government. I don't know how push. I get push him out. Mo kwere ono, mune kwe. Diaro. Look at it. $5 million. Kasona brawa na rafe na polo mubiko jirikudisi na haga on. Ekolega gwaro na genyono ni mie. How much have you been promised? How much is okay going to give you out of 5 million? Are you going to get up to $100,000? How much? Why have you blackmailed yourself? No wonder why the first came back. No wonder why Gaddafi came back. And the Gaddafi insinuated my brother battle cry to start fighting me. I'm fighting Simon Ekpa. I pity all of you. I pity all of you. Shame.
All those giving him support one way or the other, we have picked them, we have killed his commanders. It is not a matter of time.
Okay, that is number one. Listen to the second one, where they ask him about Simon Ekpa, and listen to the blog that's in
General, what about Simon Ekpa? I'm sure he's cooling off somewhere. And
again, if this man knows anything about Simon Ekpa, he wouldn't have said he's cooling off somewhere. Listen, continue.
Legal action is still going to be taken accordingly. So
again, Nigerians, listen. Biafrans, listen. These are the same people who told you that Simon Ekpa is now in one of the most secured prisons in the world. Now coming back to tell you that the legal action has been will be taken. Are you seeing the shenanigans I'm talking about? They don't even have a clue of what is happening in Finland. That is the simple truth. Nobody knows what is happening in Simon Ekpa's case in Nigeria. Even the Nigerian government. And I'm going to prove it to you today, because these people think that we're stupid. Enough of this, their madness. We will come here and we will continue to debunk their lie. Listen.
He's cooling off somewhere, and legal action is still going to be taken accordingly. So I don't want to say much about that, but I'm happy that he has been arrested.
I don't want to say much about that, but I am happy he's been arrested. I don't want to say much. Look at General Christopher Musa giving you details of Bello, whatever his name is, giving you critical details of who this guy. I don't know this Bello, is it Bello, whatever. I don't know his name. I've never seen. In fact, this is my first time of hearing Bello, whatever's name actually. But truth be told, you could see how he analyzed it, because they were at the end of their affair. They were on point with this guy's story, but they don't know what is going on. Now, I thought he said he was the one in the previous interview, that he was the one, or they have submitted some evidence. But now, listening to what he said, that Nigerians are shaking, oh, they have. Don't worry, before I continue what I'm saying, just listen to the nonsense that that your supposed general is telling you, a person who has no military war experience.
I don't want to say much about that, but I'm happy that he has been arrested, and the federal government have actually forwarded most of the.
You can see how he was checking. He didn't know the actual language and the actual, analysis to use to make up his lies. You could see where he was checking. No. Anybody who, you don't need to have a good memory to tell what is going on. You don't need to have a good memory to tell what is happening within the surrounding of your confined space of, reasoning. You don't need to have good thinking to remember what is happening around somebody that you are going after. Now he's saying this is old news and it blew up in 2025. So now this thing they've been saying it, they've submitted documents. Now listen.
Most of the requirements to the Finnish government, so I'm sure the right thing will be done.
I am sure the right thing will be done. I am sure the right thing will be done. But why are they telling you people that he is in a secured prison? Why is these people telling you that Simon Ekpa his access has been seized? He is in one of the most secured prison in the world, in Finland. Can you see how they confuse and try to use manipulation to deceive the people that they are ruling? These are people who has no human feeling, human conscience. Despite the fact that Musa has no business as a general coming out to, put his head where he's not supposed to belong. Because all this thing that he's describing here is supposed to be the IG of police question, the IG of police interview. And number one is that the world knows that Nigeria is a corrupt country, that their judiciary is one of the worst in the world, and that no trial can be successful in Nigeria. So all these ones that you are hearing, that it is a lie. They don't know what is going on. These people have been sued in ICC and they refuse to come. They are just in Nigeria, sitting comfortably in Nigeria, going from one interview to another. Musa is going from one interview to another, answering questions. He didn't even know that question was coming. That was why he was checking. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know that this lady was going to ask him this question. He didn't know. Because he waited for a while and said, he's cooling off somewhere. Cooling off where? He couldn't tell you now that he was secured. He is now secured in one of the toughest prisons in Finland. This is how they push out fake news, fake narratives to Nigerians, and then we will be divided. This one, Ekpa has been arrested. Ekpa was invited by the Finnish authority to investigate him. And when Ekpa got to the Finnish authority, he submitted his own evidence. Now Nigerian government is meant to come to Finland now to defend those evidences against Simon Ekpa. Nobody saw them again. And they are here sitting on interview and they are telling us, we the stupid ones, we the Nigeria, the Biafran, that they don't have cause to think that legal action will be taken. So the legal action has not been taken. Will be. Maybe you didn't hear that. Let me play that part again, so that let me take it back and let's go.
Yeah, the update is that since he knows we have been after him, he has been operating underground and we're conducting shipping operations. What we have been doing of recent is we're picking everybody that is close to him. All those giving him support one way or the other, we have picked them, we have killed his commanders. It is just a matter of time.
Now listen, he didn't know this question was coming.
General, what about Simon Ekpa?
I'm sure he's schooling off somewhere.
He's schooling off somewhere. And then
legal action is still going to be taken.
He's going to be taken.
I don't want to say much.
Now, you could see that he didn't even know that that question was coming. He never know what to say, but he just has to say something so that, people could say, oh, he knows what he's doing. These are animals ruling Nigeria. I can tell you for a fact, General Christopher Musa doesn't know anything happening in Finland over Simon Ekpa's case. I can tell you for a fact, because he was not even the one who submitted any evidence. It was even the government, the criminal government of Tinubu that submitted the fake evidences against Simon Ekpa that they cannot come and prove or defend, should I say.
But I'm happy that he has been arrested, and the federal government have actually forwarded most of the requirements to the Finnish government. So I'm sure the right thing will be done.
Now he's now telling you that he's sure, that he's sure. So they weren't sure before. Before they started telling you that they have seized his passport, they have seized his assets, they have seized everything, they have put him in one of the most secured prison in Finland. Can you see how, the stupidity of these people is just playing out every single day? Their stupidity is just playing out. In 2025, they don't even know what to tell Nigerians, which means their brains has expired. I pity the people who is fighting for Nigerian government. I pity you people because you don't know what is coming, do you? You do not know what is coming. And we have told this same illiterate-minded person, because I used to see him as one of the most educated generals that...
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.